Everyone's favorite time of week, the NFC West Huddle. 3 weeks left before we crown the divisional winner. And joining us tonight is Gerard Moncure in Los Angeles, Keyshawn Ward in San Francisco, and in Phoenix, it's Richard Sines making his glorious return to the show after being away covering the Sun Devils football team. Good luck to them in the college football playoffs, Richard. The first topic is this. With 3 weeks left, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that your team will win this division? Or in the Niners' case, since their chances are less than 1%, how confident are you that they will win the division next season? Keyshawn, we'll start with you. Sorry, not sorry about the Niners, but how confident are you they get things going next year on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm not very confident for this season, obviously, because we see what the disaster they've been throughout the season. But for next year, I would say probably about a 7 or 8. It all depends on what the Niners are going to do in the offseason. Obviously, the big talk is what they're going to do with Brock Purdy's contract. Because if you pay him to make him top dollar quarterback and give him $60 million, you're going to handicap the roster to the point where you're going to lose key contributors like a Dre Greenlaw, a Talanoa Hufanga, maybe even a George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Who knows? So I think that if they try to pay him between $35 to $45 million, it might work. But who knows? So as far as confidence, I would say maybe about a 7 or 8. And I do think that if they're fully healthy, the Niners will be back next year.
And Gerard, the Vegas odds are in your favor right now for this season, but how confident are you from 1 to 10 the Rams will win the NFC West at this point?
Aaron, I'm at a 10 right now. I mean, plain and simple. They got the Jets this week, and we know the Jets are not very good. I was in that locker room yesterday, and there's another level of juice around the Woodland Hills organization right now, the facility for the Rams. They started 1-4. They've won 7 of their last 9. They're a very confident group. And because they're so young, it's only growing stronger. Plus, they're getting healthier. They're getting Tyler Higbee back, their starting tight end, who hasn't played at all this year due to tearing the ACL and MCL in last year's playoff game against Detroit. He's back this week, activated for the first time. The Cardinals will probably win their game against the Panthers. Aaron, I got a feeling the Vikings are going to get you guys up in the Great Northwest this week. So basically, the Rams win this week. They win next week at home against the Cardinals. They win the division. I just like where they stand right now. They're on a roll. They're playing great football at the right time.
Yeah, it's a fantastic position to be them right now, especially after the wins over the Niners on Thursday Night Football and then a week prior to that against the Buffalo Bills. As for the Seahawks, I'll focus on this season because the Hawks are still in it, and I'm going to give it a 6. But if they find a way to beat the Vikings this weekend, I will move that up to an 8. There's so much focus on Geno Smith and his health. He's going to be fine. This is a matter of what kind of offensive game plan the Hawks will execute. Will it be the one we saw against Arizona where they actually established the run game? They rushed for 170 yards in that game, and because of that, Geno Smith was not sacked a single time. Or does offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb do something that has frustrated a lot of fans and probably frustrated Mike Macdonald at times this year, and that's rely on the passing game? And what happened against a fairly mediocre Packers defensive line when they did that last week? The Seahawks got sacked 7 times, 16 pressures, and 12 quarterback hits. So they need to run the ball and then use play action off of that. The Seahawks have one of the lowest play action passing rates in the entire league. Even McDonald said he would like to see more of that earlier this week. He said that. And Richard, the Cardinals' divisional hopes, they are hanging by a thread. What's your confidence level as that they can get the help they need to win out and take this division?
Hey, I'm like that guy in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance, right? And that's all you need is a chance. And what's up with Gerard with a 10? What do you say that they got the juice? Is there some gin in that juice? A 10? Wow, that's pretty confident. I'm gonna write it down in my diary. Gerard told a funny joke, and I'm gonna laugh about it later that night. Yeah. So look, I'm gonna give the Cardinals like a 3 or a 4. Yeah, that's what gin and juice will do to you. It'll make you speak the truth, right? But hey, look, what I'm saying is the Cardinals have 3 chances, 3 different scenarios on how they can get in. Of course, they have to win out in every scenario. But if the Rams and the Seahawks go 2-1, and we already know Seattle's going to lose to Minnesota, so that's one loss right there. The Rams are going to play the Cardinals. That could be the division on the line right there. So the Cardinals have a chance, like I said. So you're telling me there's a chance. And oh, by the way, this is for you, Aaron. I have it in my diary. Hey, Gino, you're still not that guy.
We're waiting.
Gino's still not that guy.
Give me 3
but
more
I have
weeks.
to make an exception. I have to make an exception. He's still not that guy, except when he plays the Cardinals. For some reason,
there you
he
go.
has the Cardinals number. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to play you're not playing the Cardinals anymore, so you're not gonna beat us again. But yeah, I think the Cardinals have a chance, like I said. So you're telling me there's a chance.
Keep that page permanent in the burn book right there, or your diary, whatever you want to call it. Either way, how it goes for Geno Smith. And we do appreciate during this holiday season, Lloyd Christmas joining us from Arizona this week, telling us that there is a chance. Handicap your game this week. Do the betting markets have it right? Why or why not? And would you take your team with the current point spread? Gerard, you're first on this one. The Rams are 3-point favorites on the road at the Jets. Is that about right? And who would you take in that one?
It's about right, Aaron, and I'm taking the Rams. I would lay the points. The Jets are 2-4 at home. They have not been great. They've lost their last 2 to the Colts and the Hawks at home. And they just struggled to beat a Jacksonville squad on the road. They won in the final 46 seconds of the game. If you look at the way the Rams are playing, and Key can probably attest to this, Matthew Stafford didn't get touched by that 49er defensive line on Thursday Night Football. The Rams offensive line is not only healthy, but they're playing their best football of the year right now. They are 4-3 as a team away. Like I said, they have won 4 straight on the road. Seahawks, Patriots, Saints, 49ers. And I was at practice yesterday. They know this could be a trap game if they let it. They know they got to get on the flight. They're going to be playing in the mid-20s. And it's an early start time. They are fully aware. They're locked in. I would lay the 3 points. I cannot see a letdown by what's going on right now in Woodland Hills. Sean McVay, he's too crafty to not have them ready to go at 10 a.m. East Coast time on Sunday.
The only 2 words I heard just now were trap game, and I hope that is the case if you're a Seahawks fan, but good luck to the Rams in that one. And Richard, the Cardinals 4.5-point favorites at Carolina. What do you think about that point spread, and will you take them in this game?
Oh, yeah, that's a 401k special, man. Put the mortgage on it. They're going to win that game easily, and that's what the Cardinals have done this year, is feasted on the weaker teams, right? Look at the Jets, look at the Bears, look at the Patriots. They've beaten them by double digits, even though it is difficult for these West Coast teams, right, to travel to the East Coast, go to Carolina. But I'm telling you, the Cardinals know what's at stake here. They know they have to win out. And you mentioned trap game, and it's funny, we asked Kyler Murray earlier in the week, just yesterday, about, could this be a trap game? And he kind of laughed. He goes, trap game? He goes, well, we'd have to be overconfident to be a trap game, because we don't have the luxury to be overconfident, because we have to win. We know what's at stake. And of course, Budda Baker, your guy from Washington, the Cardinals just re-signed him, and one of the reasons he said he wants to stay here in Arizona, and the reason he signed that extension, was because he knows this team has a chance to win and play meaningful games. So they all know what's at stake here, and they're going to go down there, and they're planning to take care of business, because if not, it's over, right? They know the season is on the line each and every week. It's like the playoffs have already started for these guys when you think about it.
Yeah, so much made about the weather in East Rutherford, New Jersey for the Rams, but it's supposed to be 24 degrees in Charlotte, North Carolina for that Panthers game against the Arizona Cardinals. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. As for the Seahawks, they are 3-point underdogs to the Vikings. My initial reaction is, well, that's the same exact line as last week against Green Bay, and the Packers dominated that game, and the Vikings are probably even a better team than the Packers. But there's something about being embarrassed in that manner at home that sticks with a team. This is the NFL. Psychologically, the Seahawks are no longer riding that 4-game winning streak. Their backs are once against the wall. They understand that a loss this week, combined with the Rams' win over the Jets, could come close to knocking them out of the divisional race. And when a team plays with desperation, I think it's a completely different animal. And I think that's what we get out of the Hawks this week, especially against a Vikings team on a short week with travel. I will take the Seahawks and the points. Then again, full disclosure, if I'm in the casino, I'm probably not touching this game at all, because the Vikings in the NFC North in general might just be that much better than everyone else. And Keyshawn, the
Come on,
Niners.
Aaron, scared money don't make no money.
Well, that's true. And I'll just kind of step aside this week, at the very least, when it comes to putting my actual money on the game. Keyshawn, the Niners 1-point underdogs at Miami. Is that about right? And who would you take with the point spread?
I actually think they have it wrong. This on paper, this is a very sexy matchup because you got these offensive gurus with Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel. You know, it could be a trick play galore in terms of explosive plays. But based on the film and the games the past 5 to 6 weeks, both these teams have been bad. I mean, look at last week. The Niners, they couldn't even put up any points against the Rams defense, and then they just struggled putting things on the board. And the Dolphins, they struggled just doing anything against Houston last week. 2 or 3 interceptions. Purdy had bad picks last week. I just cannot see this going over with its 45 points total in the game. I don't know. Like, it just seems like both these teams are having deficiencies, and plus, look at the injuries. Right now, the Niners, they're down to their 4th-string running back because they just ruled out Guerrero. He's unlikely to play this Sunday. And then for the Dolphins, they lost Jalen Waddle. He might not play. So it just seems like it's too many stars not in the game on offense. It's going to turn into a slugfest. I think it's going to be about a 17-13 game. I'm going to take the Niners in that one.
Okay. Next topic, from your perspective, guys, what is the biggest surprise in the division this season, be it storyline, player, team, wherever you want to go with this one? Richard, you go first.
Yeah, well, mine is the San Francisco 49ers and the disappointing season that they've had, right? I mean, it's amazing to see a team be an overtime chance, right, to win the Super Bowl, and then months later, you're done. You're not even in the playoffs. And it all started, of course, with Christian McCaffrey going down. That was a big blow to them and to my Chimichangas. But the Chimichangas, we were able to adapt and overcome. We're still in the playoffs, 1 win away from the fantasy football Super Bowl. 49ers, it was just one injury after another. And I just can't believe. It's funny because we were talking, before we started the show about how things can change, over the course of the season. Because when the season started, we were all saying, hey, this is a 49ers division lose, except for Gerard, who was talking about, Aaron Jones or Aaron Donald coming back and walking through that door. But yeah, we all thought the 49ers were the team to win it, and now look at them. They're the odd man out and don't even have a chance.
Yeah, and the Chimichanga is also one of the biggest surprises of this season, making it to the semifinals despite the injuries to Christian McCaffrey earlier this season.
Yeah, we don't rebuild in the Chimichanga Nation. We reload. We don't rebuild. We reload. That's how we do it there.
Congratulations so far, and good luck this week, and hopefully next week as well. Keyshawn, you're next. What's the biggest surprise in the division this season?
Well, I'm going to piggy off what Richard just said. It's the Niners' injuries. I mean, it goes back to Super Bowl. I mean, when Dre Greenlaw ruptures his Achilles, it just took out the life of the Niners defense. They just were never the same since then. And look what happened. They ended up getting Dre Greenlaw's replacement, quote unquote, Devondre Campbell, who ended up walking out on them last week. But the injuries continue to go on because when they drafted Ricky Pearsall, he came into spring where he had a hamstring injury, came into camp, had a shoulder injury, then he got shot and robbed. Like it just didn't stop. And then with Christian McCaffrey, he had a very strange injury with the Achilles tendonitis, with his Achilles, and then obviously Brandon Ayuk going through his contract disputes. He tears ACL, MCL. Then look at, Talanoa Hufanga, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. They all miss these games, and it just seemed like they could never get in a rhythm because of injuries. So I just think that's the biggest storyline in the NFC West. The Niners were the top dog, and now they're in the bottom of the NFC West now because of injuries.
Yeah, I will go next, and I think the Niners underperforming are the low-hanging fruit here. And as much as Seahawks fans have enjoyed that, I will go in a bit of a different direction, and I will say the combination of Leonard Williams and Ernest Jones IV on the Hawks. We knew that Leonard Williams had the potential to be a game changer before he came to Seattle, but we really didn't get to see it last season when he joined the team. We have seen that over the last 4-game stretch, starting with that first game against Arizona. He had 2.5 sacks in that one. The following week, he has 2 more sacks and that 92-yard interception return for a touchdown. And even last week, he had a couple big-time tackles in the backfield that gave Seattle a chance against Green Bay in that second half. So whatever Mike McDonald has unlocked with Leonard Williams is working. We're seeing his full potential right now. And then I got to say, a surprise, Ernest Jones, because he wasn't even in the division at the start of this season. He's averaging more than 10 tackles per game for Seattle. He also had that interception against the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. He is the missing link to this defense. They started turning a corner when they brought him in earlier this year. By the way, honorable mention goes to rookie linebacker Tyrese Knight, because both of those linebackers have made a huge difference. And Gerard, what do you think is the biggest surprise in the division so far this year?
Well, I got to go with everything that you guys said. The downfall of the 49ers is, you just don't see it like this in the NFL, where a team is that close to winning a title, and, the drop-off has been as bad as it's been. Obviously, the injuries, Key said it all. The injuries, you just name them one after the other. I mean, no team's able to survive that. The Rams went through that with the offensive line last year. So it's got to be the 49ers. It's 6-8 and 4-4 in the division. No one saw that coming. But I will also say, with the second youngest team in the league, I'm not sure anyone saw the Rams making this run right now, winning 7 of 9, being in a position to not only make the playoffs, but win the division and possibly host a playoff game. This might be Sean McVay's best coaching job of his career. With as young as this team is on both sides of the ball, it's truly been something to see the maturity, and we're going to find out just how mature they are Sunday, making the cross-country journey to take on the Jets. And by the way, that's a 10 a.m. Pacific time game, 1 o'clock Eastern. I think I said 10 a.m. Eastern earlier in the show. We're going to find out exactly how mature they are, but those two things, to me, are by far the biggest surprises. How far the Niners fell and the resurgence of the Rams after the 1-4 start.
Yeah, truly remarkable. And you mentioned it right now, the start to this season, and to be able to turn things around after that horrible start is a fantastic job by Sean McVay and his staff down in Los Angeles. Finally, Christmas and Hanukkah are next week. What are fans in your city asking for, either in the short term or the long term, for your team that can help them become a contender, either for the rest of this season or for years to come? I will go first on this one. I know some Seahawks fans will say a quarterback of the future, and that might be the case. But whoever the quarterback might be, they need a competent offensive line. This has been an ongoing theme for a lot of years with John Schneider in charge of personnel. The Seahawks have allowed the 3rd most sacks in the league this season. They've already allowed 9 more sacks this year than all of last year, and they still have 3 games left. They're going to be this is going to be the 7th time in the last 9 seasons that they have finished in the top 10 in the league of most sacks allowed. So they either need to invest in their offensive line with draft stock and in free agency, or they need to be able to better develop linemen. I don't care how they do it, but it would be so refreshing if Seattle could have a dominant offensive line again someday. That is on my holiday wish list for sure. Gerard, you're next. What do Rams fans need to help them down the stretch?
You know what? A rematch with the Detroit Lions in the first round of the playoffs. Obviously, everyone remembers the playoff game last year. They lost in that wild card game at Ford Field, 24-23. They did not get the flag call on Puka Nacua. If the refs pull the flag out of their pocket and they drop it on the ground, the Rams win that game and they move on. Then they played the Lions to open the season. Great scheduling by the NFL. The game goes into overtime. The Rams' young D-line runs out of gas. Montgomery gets the touchdown, and they lose that game by 6. No one wants to see other teams go through injuries like the Lions are going through now. But very easily, they could go from the top seed in the NFC to the 5th slot. And if the Rams are the 4th slot, we would play each other again. And as much talk as Lions fans have had on social media by beating the Rams last two games, obviously there's a connection between the Stafford and Goff trade. Rams fans would love another meeting with the Lions to answer the call, we'll say, in the first round of the playoffs this year.
Yeah, there's no question that would be incredibly entertaining, and I really hope it doesn't happen. Keyshawn, you're next.
The faithful, they're asking for health. They just want the Niners to be fully healthy, because when they are, this is one of the best, not in the NFC West, one of the best rosters in the entire National Football League. And they just want Brock Purdy to be paid at a certain price. You know, they want Purdy to finally be the long-term quarterback because he's earned it. But they don't want to make him the top dollar quarterback to the point, as I mentioned earlier, that it's going to handicap the roster. We see what the Dallas Cowboys did with Dak Prescott. Yes, they got the quarterback for the future for the next 5 years, but look at them now. They're now top-heavy. They got CD paid, Dak paid, I believe Micah Parsons has already been paid or is going to be paid. So you don't want to end up being in that situation to where you're too top-heavy, you have no depth on the roster. So they want health and Purdy to be paid by a certain price.
And Richard, I know Arizona fans are not going to be getting a white Christmas next week. At least I don't think so. They never do. But anything realistic that they can hope for down the stretch or in the years to come with the Cardinals?
Yeah, well, first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus for the rest of us, right? Well, before we talk about what the fans want, I know what I want, and I want that juice that Gerard and the Rams have. That have him so confident. But he's so good. He was convincing me, like, hey, man, maybe the Rams are going to win the division. I was isn't that like a Tupac movie? You got the juice now, right? I want some of that juice. So, yeah,
yes.
if you got any extra, send it over here to Arizona. Boy, that juice is working for you. I'll tell you that right now. But the fans here in Arizona, they want to unlock Marvin Harrison, right? They want the Maserati. They don't want the Mazda Miata that we've gotten so far this year, right? For some reason, he hasn't been able to have that big breakout game, and they've been trying. The last game, they went to him in the end zone a couple times, but it just hasn't clicked just yet. So, of course, that also goes hand in hand. If Kyler Murray hooks up with Marvin Harrison and he does well, then they're both doing well, and the offense does well. So I think that's what a lot of people would like to have in their stocking stuffer this Christmas is a breakout game and for Marvin Harrison to reach his potential. Well, I'll just take the juice that the Rams have in their locker room.
Richard, the Rams spoiled you guys because Marvin Harrison's best game came against the Rams like early in the year in Glendale.
Right, and let's see if he can do it again when it comes down to maybe the division on the line later in the year.
Yeah. And the biggest surprise of this show, asking a confidence level of the Rams 1 to 10. Gerard saying a 10. I thought he was going to go 11 or a 12.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's going to do it for us this week. Best of luck to all of the teams in this division this weekend, except for the Rams. And happy holidays to all of our viewers on TV, streaming online, and on YouTube. Even to those who like to rip us in the comments section, that is what we are here for. Have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Chimichangas.
Yeah. Good luck to the Chimichangas. And Aaron, hey, we're in the finals this week. Side note, NFC West Huddle next week here. Once again.